I have him here.
Dan's gone.
I got
I
him.
have him now too.
Oh, okay.
Yes, we're live.
Oh.
Jesus Christ.
Here we are chit-chatting. You didn't tell me.
Hey, my favorite thing of the year is you leave me the fuck alone. Let me plug all this shit up. Jeez.
We're starting in a good mood.
Yeah.
It only gets better from here. Hey, I need your glasses.
I've still got my glass with
All
pink
right,
drink in it.
fill yours.
Hey, everybody.
Fill your face with it. Okay. All right, we ready?
We're live. We've been live.
Okay.
It was still 2:30 when we were live. It's still 2:30 now.
Okay, let's do this. It's gonna be okay. We're live. It's Friday. Let's drink whiskey quick.
That's this is actually a good thing, believe it or not, because we've never been this close to not being ready on time and still been on time, and everything worked.
And I'll have you all know I did a thing to help. I changed a setting.
Yes, Dan changed the setting.
It was useful. All right. So one quick note, Bender. Sorry for the delay on your samples. They should be there today. Everybody else, I think y'all should have gotten them.
Ryan doesn't have his samples, but it's mostly his fault because he didn't fill the form out when everybody else did. So, and I was late. I was going to pour samples today, but I did. Sorry, Ryan. We will make that happen.
Well, today we are talking, it is the end of the year, so we're talking about our favorite bottles of the year. As you can see, there's many of them. And some couldn't make it tonight. So
And one of our favorite things is a person.
we got a Jacob.
That's Jacob. He's
Thanks for having me.
one of our favorite things, too. So Jacob's here.
Jacob's
Oh,
here.
let me...
Jacob's not one of our favorite bottles, but he's okay.
Jacob,
Shaped like a bottle.
I'm turning on the microphone. It's pointed towards you. Do not abuse it.
He's in a very stern mood today.
Let's get
some alcohol quickly.
He's fatherly.
All right.
I have struggled of late.
Yes. It's been a week.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what are we talking about?
One final thank you. I was on the way here when co-producer Larry Gray of Florence, Alabama, messaged me and asked would there be a stream today because I had yet to actually set that up. So thank you, Larry.
The message here is we're on the ball, and I helped. Okay, so talking our favorite whiskeys, bottles of the year. We got a lot to talk about.
Yes,
because it was an interesting year, and we have goals for next year.
We have goals, and we podcasted about some of those goals.
We did.
We talked about that here. I want to focus less on the negatives because this was a year of a handful of stinkers.
Oh, wait. Echo City.
Big city. Why didn't anybody else say that?
You just said that on your microphone.
So, okay, well.
You just turn off the mic.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Mm-hmm. Let's try this. How about now, Larry? Is that still echoing? Because it could have been turning that microphone.
Oh, Bender just thought he was drunk already. Valid concern. Valid concern.
Well, let's see. Before we go changing everything, we'll see if Larry says the echo's gone.
All right. Is the echo going, everybody? While that's
look, my bad. Eric heard it too. Okay, that's good. It was the second microphone.
Okay.
So it turns out just speak up when you want to talk.
Speak when spoken to. All right.
So stinkers. Can we get that out of the way first?
All right.
Everybody. Oh, wait. Everybody knows what bottle Dan's about to hold up. Go ahead.
Listen, we're not going to dwell on this, and I'm actually going to pour this out in the yard after this. Thank God. I've been saving this just for this podcast or this episode today. The reason this is on my list of bottles of the year is because it shifted the way I think about spending money on bottles. Because I spent $75 on this thing, and it sucks. And I did it because, hey, whose name is on that? Jim Rutledge.
Famous person.
I thought, how could you not just jump in on that? It's like a no-brainer, right? Next time I'll use my brain.
It required some brains. And I don't feel quite as bad about that one, but I'm so very disappointed in Jackie's Icahn with that first batch of Hidden Barn. Not a health risk like that is.
Yeah.
Still very disappointing.
Yeah. Well, I'll be cleaning some paintbrushes later, so we'll use that.
Yeah.
But that, it did recenter the way I think about spending money for 2023, and we're going to talk about that later.
Good.
So we got that out of the way. We all knew that was coming, so you might as well get the cream of Kentucky out of the way first. That's what I always say. I just said that just now for the first time, and I'm going to say it always. Hidden Barn was probably your
most disappointing bottle of the year, absolutely. There were some others that I thought should have been a little better, but nothing that rose to the occasion like those two.
Yeah, they really hit it out of the park.
They were bad.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's good. That's out of the way. Our bad ones, we're not going to pour that because
Everybody got it right.
I know. It's almost like we've mentioned it before.
Yes.
What's
Are
your?
you suggesting that sometimes we beat a dead horse?
I've never. I mean, maybe you.
What else do you do with a dead horse?
Bury it. I hope.
I don't know.
We're going to bury this one.
I
That's for sure.
wished I hadn't used that phrase as soon as it came out of my
Yeah.
mouth.
All right. Just so you guys can all see it one last time.
So
'cause it's-
this is your Time Person of the Year.
yes.
Doesn't always mean a good person.
This is my Elon Musk Time Person of the Year. All right. So let's go in the opposite direction.
Bender says he listened to an interview with Jackie where she defended the flavor profile. She can defend whatever she wants. That was shit, and she knew it.
Yeah. All right. Let's go in the other direction.
Other direction.
Other
Happy
direction.
times.
Yes.
So beyond Jacob, there's Happy Whiskey.
Yes.
And I thought there were a lot of good whiskeys this year. And we both wanted to put that Boulder Spirits
Yes.
up there. And I don't know if it's for the same reason. I believe that small distilleries can do good stuff. And we've learned that. We've learned that big distilleries can do crap. Famous people, as we just discussed, can do crap. This, though, to me, was the first big cask strength bourbon from a small producer. In scale, we can talk scale all you want. Maybe they're a little bigger than really small.
Should we pour some?
Yes, we should. The first one that I think holds its own with something like Booker's,
Oh, here, put us on the cool camera.
with something like Rare Breed.
Oh, yeah.
So it's the first one that I think really holds its own with some of our favorite bourbons.
Yeah.
And I would love
Pork ham.
to set up a blind tasting with that and some of the big heavy hitters that we love so much. Because we both agree that you don't have to have cask strength. It's fun. But it's hard to do a cask strength whiskey really well, I think. And I think they did a fabulous job.
For what it's worth, I did see that Fred Minnick named
Number
this
10.
number 10 of his
Number
top 10 of the
on
year.
list.
So this is.
It doesn't matter. It's 134 proof. It'll kill whatever it needs to kill.
Yeah, Bender. We were just saying. Yeah, it's really surprising. I was surprised to see this on Fred Minnick's radar, given that this to me feels like a local place.
Yeah, it is a local place. And
Yeah.
the thing is, 5 years isn't really young these days. And this is a 5-year-old bourbon. But most cask strength 5-year-old craft produced bourbons still have a ton of char in them. They're super grainy. They're just brutal in their roughness. This is just a fabulous bourbon.
This is really good. Jacob, I'm curious because you kind of get blown out of the water with proof sometimes. So I'm
Yes.
curious to see how you react to this. Put him on the camera because I want to see your.
Well,
your
initially,
let's see your charisma.
it's incredible. It's incredibly gentle.
Let's see.
I'm trying to remember your daughter's breathing techniques.
Oh, you got to go.
Quick little breaths through your nose.
Uh-huh. They're-
Then a big deep, just drink some. I wish I put a zoom camera on instead of a GoPro.
How you
What's
feeling?
the proof?
133.8.
Wow.
Your eyes are watering.
No. Well, I don't feel anything in my throat. It's all in the mouth. Wow.
And
Phrasing.
I was gonna keep going. I was gonna not touch that one. Yeah, it's big. It's a big flavor, but it's not. Like when I
It's hot,
Yes.
but it's not. It nearly 134 proof. You'd expect to just be blasted, and it's not.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the first time I had this, it hit me really hard, and then it was just flavor. The heat does hit you right up front, but man, just the flavors that
Sweet.
it is. It's got all sorts of stuff going on. So
And not the first hint of youth.
yeah,
It's
What was funny about it?
everything is funny today. But I did go out and buy one with my own dollars because I was so impressed with this.
I saw that.
Yeah.
it's really good.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
Yeah, so I'm pretty pleased with it. That's definitely up there, bottle of the year. I think what's really interesting about our lineup too is that you and I are in agreement about a lot of these. But
Yeah, and I had more I would have brought, but we drank them all. So we'll just talk about
we're
it.
efficient.
It tingles a lot.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
I mean, it not the burn kind of alcohol evaporation. It's just tingles.
Well, it's kind
It
of
was like a 9-volt battery just all over your mouth.
it's spicy.
We talked about that when we opened this, which is what is those that pepper I kept talking about, the Szechuan pepper.
Okay.
Like it makes your tongue go numb.
Yes, a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the 9-volt battery. Yeah.
But like in a good way, not in like, oh God, get this out of my mouth.
It's even in the lips, right?
Yeah. It's really cool. This is excellent.
It's an experience. It's not just a flavor.
Yeah. Should write copy for them. Yeah, it seems a shame. It seems a shame to put this in the dump glass.
It's a nice dump glass.
It is.
Why are you putting it in
A little Stranahan's because we
Oh, right. So you can.
We got a lot of work to do.
Why, rookie? Why are we?
Why are we going to do the dump glass? All right.
Airbags. No, sorry, that's not the joke about it.
Yeah,
Oh, that's good. All right. So, today's my dump glass
a pro
day.
move.
Let's put something in there. All right. I put a little bit in there.
that is just delicious.
All right. So, we're in pretty solid agreement there.
And I paid 70. I think I paid 75. What'd you pay?
That's what I paid. Yeah. These are harder to get now because these were a limited run. It was only like 1,000 bottles produced. So if you can get one, grab it. It's worth every penny. I would move on to, so this is an interesting bottle, this Kentucky Spirit from Wild Turkey.
Well, I'll tell you why I brought that.
Please do.
Whiskeys continue to get more expensive. Even our own price point has drifted up. We've talked about next year, less bottles, but better bottles. This has come up a bit in price. These used to be 55 or 60. They're pushing 70, and you can't get these bottles anymore. But when you can get an 8 or 9 year old single barrel, 101 proof whiskey from Wild Turkey for 60-ish bucks, $65, you know it's going to be good. I still am impressed with that's available around here. Any store around here has got one of these bottles on the shelf.
I've actually had kind of a hard time finding them recently.
I see them all the time.
Well, then get me one.
So, I have 3 more of these.
Okay, good. I'm coming to your house.
And I paid $45 a piece for those.
So they've gone up in price.
Well, that was ridiculously low at the time. They were $60 then. But anyway, I brought that because of that, because we love Wild Turkey.
Yep.
We love Wild Turkey. This is basically a little older single barrel version of Wild Turkey 101. I think it's absolutely fabulous. I don't remember why I decided to open that one, but I left it here. You or your dad loved it, got into it. I got home, drank some more of it. It's just really good whiskey.
And I will qualify this. I like this whiskey a lot. I would say though that if I had a bottle of rare breed, that's what I would have out here as one of my favorites. But I've drank through those bottles.
I ran out of box space, or I would have brought some rare breed because I agree.
Yeah, I think my pick would be rare breed.
We have a new person. BC's Beer Reviews. Welcome.
Well, hello. But no, I think
maybe we could just lump that all together.
Yeah.
That rare breed, which bourbon is still what, $60.
Yeah, it's about $60 now.
$60. The rye, people are asking $75 for the rye. I got lucky and bought some for $45, $48. The Kentucky Spirit 101, the Wild Turkey 101 rye. Holy crap! If that's not one of the best $25 bottles of whiskey ever on the planet, I don't know what it is. Wild Turkey still comes through for us. So that's a favorite of the year. The Wild Turkey remains. The prices are drifting up, but nothing at the rate that the rest of the market is.
This might make you pucker a little bit after drinking the bolder spirits, just because it's such a different flavor profile. But I think, like I said, I think I would definitely have the rare breed in place of this one if I had a bottle of it. But this is still a no-brainer for buying.
It is so good.
It is still a no-brainer. I like it a lot. I think I would love it if they still made this bottle though.
I know. I'm just gonna keep the bottles.
Yeah, and just refill.
There's one at Jacob's house that's just full of honey.
It's full of honey.
It's
Right?
full of honey.
I'm gonna keep the bottle and use it. But I think one thing we might do in the coming year is bring all the Wild Turkey bourbons together and sip them.
I think it's a great
I
idea.
do have that video I still have never used where I, by myself at the house, tried to drink through 5 Wild Turkey ryes and within about 4 minutes was too drunk to know what was going on.
We should release that as like a blooper reel. It'd be great.
The whole thing is just one giant blooper. Although I will say that I got 2 of them completely right, but I did successfully separate the chill filtered and the non-chill filtered whiskey. So that
I'd be disappointed if you didn't. Jacob, what do you think of this one after drinking the cask strength hot fire?
I realize it's going to be a hard time delineating when they're all going to be good.
Yeah.
right?
Sure.
And how do you distinguish? You end up running out of superlatives, and what else is there to say?
Do you like it?
I do like it. It's much less of that kind of mouth experience. It's more of a flavor. It's good.
That's actually a pretty good observation. This does have a bigger mouthfeel than the Boulder Spirits.
There's almost 40 proof points.
Yeah.
Well, 30 proof points difference.
Yeah, but it's not just burn,
No, but it's fat.
Yeah.
And-
This though by itself. Now, if we hadn't had that casting
Well, that's what I
first,
was gonna ask.
I think it's got a great mouthfeel for something of what it is.
It's almost like a rinse by comparison,
We should have started with that.
and therefore it's good, but following up behind is a tough one.
Mark, doing great on that dump glass, pal.
Yeah.
All right. So, Wild Turkey Rare Breed / Kentucky Spirit, I think, is our
favorites.
yes. And in fact, I would say that Wild Turkey and I had a great year this year.
Yes.
If I had to pick top consistency distillery,
We finished off the Russell's 13 I had. We got a Russell's 13 there. That's lovely. We had some good rare Master's Keeps. Mm-hmm. We finished off some Cornerstone this year. Wild Turkey is still a favorite.
yeah, we did some damage on Wild Turkey.
I'll continue to be a Wild Turkey homer this year.
All right, glasses,
What
glasses,
next?
assemble team. All right.
What's on your?
Well, okay. I put out a couple things here because, okay, let's start with the obvious. Put me on this camera.
Dan's still a Booker's homer.
I'm still a Booker.
You can't even tell whether it's you or the bottle of Booker's
Yeah.
you're looking at.
We're becoming.
You
one.
are synonymous with each other.
I am, and so this batch actually is not specifically what I would call the best batch, but I will put on this. I put it out because this is the one I have, but the one I would put out is the one we had for my birthday this year, which was the
Bardstown batch?
Bardstown batch,
That's a
which
good one.
I saw on the shelf in New York City last week. It was like $450, so I did not buy that. But this batch,
Well, but Jacob and I, we spent that much for you on your birthday.
Yeah.
Remember, Jacob?
I
We
do.
spent all that
Uh-huh.
money.
I do.
listen, just because I'm not good at math,
What was the? So Teresa's batch was my favorite until then.
yeah, I have some of that actually. It's
And
not
then we
open, but
had
there was
another one that I don't know.
the country ham.
Country
Ham.
Ham's just really.
Yeah,
That Bardstown is.
I wish I could remember some of the earlier ones I had, 10 years ago.
but the Bardstown batch that blew me away. I mean, that
It
was
was
just,
very good.
It's the high watermark of the year for me.
It really is. Yeah, I would agree. We paid pretty much retail for that. I
Ooh,
think
Booker
right?
got him a Kentucky tea.
Ooh, that's like the new one, right? The one that just
I
came
think
out.
they did a fourth.
Or there's a
Didn't they do a
fourth.
fourth for the year?
That's right, because it's like it's
I
some
thought
silly
Kentucky
name.
tea was. I can't remember. Anyway, we talk a lot about our max price on Booker's.
Yeah,
And I kept saying $90. I was out at 90, and then I think 4 times this year I spent more than that. So
I'm a bad influence. Yeah. I just think consistency-wise, if you're going to spend a lot of money on a bottle, like $100 or more, I mean, this is just so consistent every time.
I'll give
every
it this
batch.
though: there has been spikes in prices and unscrupulous retailers and secondary, but once we absorb the MSRP change to 100,
Yeah.
it's been pretty level.
And it's just, I mean, the experience of sipping on Booker's. I mean, you could talk about this all day long. There's just the different flavors and the mouth feel and how it all comes together. So, we keep talking about how we're suspicious.
What is that? 126
This is 126,
or something?
126.5.
That is so easy drinking
Isn't
with
it?
that proof.
Dangerously easy. As
But
you
I
can
will
see.
say, since we've recently had that, it does hold up. The Boulder Spirits does hold up to that.
Oh, absolutely.
I think I'm not going to pick the Boulder Spirits over a bottle of Booker's,
Yeah.
but it's a whole lot closer than you think it'd be.
I agree. And I do think that there's something older. I mean, there's definitely got to be something older.
There's
in here.
definitely sneaking older barrels. Not sneaking.
Sneaking, yeah.
But they're so specific about
Right.
the age, 6 years.
3 months, 10 days.
They're so
that's an
specific that it
average.
kind of makes you think that that's it.
Yeah.
How is a 6-year-old 3-month, 10-day bourbon that good?
Yeah,
Well,
right.
because there's some 12-year-old bourbon in
Yeah.
there too, probably.
Jacob, I'm going to need you to rewind your brain back to a very sober day we had when we opened the Bardstown batch for my
Yes.
birthday. Can you think about that and your reaction to this versus that one?
Immediately, the tongue feels different.
On this one?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, obviously.
Or that one, depending on which one you start with. This one is, my vocabulary with descriptions is so much more limited than yours. This is hotter. It burns a little more.
Yeah.
It's not quite as broad a flavor.
Yeah.
And that one kind of hit you both with a little bit of sweetness, which I like,
Yeah.
but also with other savory flavors mixed into the bottle. And there wasn't a lot of burn. It was dangerously smooth.
Yeah.
As evidenced by the difference in the pictures early in the night and late in the night.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure like that in that night too, it was like, Dan, you get to take the bottle home. And by the end, it was like that much left. It's like,
Happy
thanks.
birthday, buddy.
Yeah.
Here's your present. Now we're going to drink most of it.
Happy 40th.
Hey,
Here's,
we bought you a pizza.
yeah.
But that really says something about that bottle, not this bottle, right? It doesn't denigrate this bottle at all. This is really good.
Yeah, that's excellent.
That's the Booker's hallmark. I think the only bottle we ever drank we complained about in the last few years was Shiny Barrel.
Shiny Barrel.
And I remember early having some that were just really hot. I don't know if they were that hot or I was too new. But I do know from time to time there's been some hot ones, and there have been a bad one.
Shiny Barrel had a very alcohol forward.
Yeah, I had to work on it. I mean, I had to proof it down. It was hard to drink.
I think I have another bottle. We should open it at some point and see if anything's changed because Shiny Barrel, everybody kind of dogged on that. I didn't hate it, but it just wasn't my favorite.
It was just too hot to drink.
Yeah.
Neat.
All right. Well, Booker's obviously still on the list. What a shock.
Yep.
All right. But maybe we should stick in the Jim Beam category because
Yeah.
let's talk about this.
I brought that because store picks have continued to be a thing. Store picks are really fun because there's so many bottles you just can't get. To get a store pick means you're getting at least something a little different. Maybe the person that picked it has a terrible palate or whatever. But of all the store picks we've had this year, two really stand out. One are the Knob Creek store picks. They're anywhere from 8 to 10 years old, 120 proof, 50, 55, 60 bucks. They're really good. And we drank that recently against the Knob Creek 12. That 12's pretty good. But given the availability versus how frequently you find these in different stores, this is just a hard thing to beat, in my opinion. And I know you like them. This one's from Hazel's. We haven't had a bad one of those. I didn't realize what happened or how it happened, but somehow I've got 6 or 8 of those from different stores.
I told you, I'm not going to shop in stores this year. I'm just going to shop at Mark's house. I bought a lot of these this year, and my wife liked them too. And we've had from different stores. We've had them different picks. They were all excellent.
They're all really good. There was Total Beverage?
Total Beverage.
One of those was so good it just shouldn't have been on the shelf.
I got like 3
Less
of
than
those.
100.
Yeah.
You poured 3 times, but only in that one glass.
Strategery.
Strategery.
A little bit on the computer. And I'm having troubles today.
It's only going to get better as we drink. Don't worry.
All right. That's yours.
I didn't get a cheers.
I mix them up.
I didn't get a cheers. Thank you.
I mix them up every single time.
I like that. It came pre-cheers.
Yeah.
That's great.
Dan always pre-cheers for
Yeah.
us. He's just making it easy for us.
Yeah.
But anyway, I brought that because of all the store picks, and I guess I had a Jack Daniel's single barrel. We had a bunch of these. We didn't do as many of these. This was before this year.
Yeah.
But anyway, we had quite a few store picks, but these just stand out.
Yeah.
And if you're a fan of the Beam profile, I don't see how you can go wrong with these.
And this is a good progression to compare this right against the Bookers, because to me this feels like mini Bookers or like a Booker's Junior.
Yeah.
And those is actually quite similar.
Sweet. Mm-hmm. And being only 120 proof versus 126, it's so easy drinking.
It is. It's definitely not as big of a mouthfeel as the Bookers.
No, but it's still fat.
It
still fills the palate up. It's not dry. It's got a sweetness to it, but it's got all those baking spices and nuts and stuff, and it's just delicious.
Yep.
And I hate that we're at a point where a $55 bottle seems like a good entry point to things.
But here we are.
But here we are, and it's really good.
And you can find these.
You can find it, and you get a little bit different.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a great, huge range in those things, but it is a little bit different every time. I think that's fun.
What do you think, Jacob?
It's the second smoothest one we've had so far. I think that the wild turkey.
Stop. You said the word we don't say.
Oh, second.
Smooth.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Focus.
Rewind. It has the least amount of evaporative burn.
There you go.
There you go. So wild turkey had the least. This one second least. And against the Bookers, it's actually Easy drinking? Do I have to put on the accent?
You do.
Where's my hammer? Where's my? Yeah, I would say it is. If you were looking for something a little less intense than Booker's, I mean, this is definitely it.
And don't forget, a little bit of splash of water makes it easy drinking.
That's right.
And that's part of the reason we like high proof whiskey, so we can.
I need a Yankee version of easy drinking because that doesn't work for me.
Everything's easy
Not a
drinking if
Yankee.
you just
You're
keep
gonna have to
drinking.
figure that out on your own. Mister, I've been to New York City.
Did I mention? Also, by the way, I'm a super taster. I don't know if I told you that.
Yes. That's right. 'Cause he finds things disgusting.
I gotta bring it up every episode now. Anyway, this is delicious. I'm very happy with this. All right. So all of the things except for perhaps the Booker's.
I'm just not leaving a lot for the dump glass.
You're really not. It's the dump glass is going to taste like a little bit of your backwash.
I'm going to be here a long time because I drove my wife's brand new car here, so I'm going to
be
have to
here
be
tomorrow.
It's going to be a while before I go home.
I know both of you guys did.
Jacob and I both drove our wife's brand new car.
I walked past my wife's car to get here. So we've so far talked about pretty affordable bottles. I mean, save the Booker's. I think Booker's is getting to the point where it's not affordable. You know,
In this group, though, it's reasonable.
it is. It's under. I mean, it's 100 or under.
And I did mention, I mean, let's not forget, all the Wild Turkey, the 101 bourbon and rye, $25, $23, can't beat it. It's 90% as good as some of this stuff.
Yep.
Knob Creek brought their age statement back. It's $28 here. It's 34, 35 elsewhere. We're still doing the affordable thing.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think anything on here. I mean, the Boulder Spirits is 75. I mean, nothing here is exactly unaffordable, but it's not exactly.
Nothing's really terribly expensive on this table.
except for not anymore anyway. Except for maybe the cameras. I don't know. But let's talk a little bit about maybe some of the unobtainiums and the. I mean, we've got. Let's talk about this. Does this rank on the list of favorites?
Oh, yeah. I think the question was, and I think we got some, I think we were unduly influenced by a liquor store owner friend of yours. We won't use Casey's name.
No, we would never.
But that first bottle, the very first batch of this that I paid $75 for it, is now going for $400 or $500 on secondary, is a mind-bendingly delicious whiskey.
It's fantastic. Yeah.
It is so good. It may be,
In fact,
it's podium level. Top 3.
yeah, y'all are standing in line for Pappy.
That's it.
Yeah.
Then we had a sample of, I don't remember, one of the 2 batches that came out second. And it was just a big fat cherry bomb.
Yep.
It wasn't bad, but I think Casey unduly influenced our opinion. We drank it, we thought, well, it's not that bad. Yeah, it's full of cherries. But then we get a bottle.
This is
it's
much
really
better.
good. And if I hadn't had that first one, I'd be really impressed with that.
Yeah, I mean, I think if we had bought, and I paid $100 for this, which is lucky. So I don't know if I mentioned, but I was just in New York City. I saw this on the shelf for $950. No whiskey's that good. But for $100, this is phenomenal.
But screenshot that part.
Yeah.
No whiskey's that good. One day soon, Dan will pay $9.50 for a bottle of whiskey. And we'll replay this moment.
Yeah, the day after or the day before my divorce, I'll pay $9.50 for a bottle. But I would say, independently of the first batch that you had, this drink's unbelievably good. Mm-hmm. We had it side by side with the first one, and I think that was where we were like, "Oh, it's not
fair."
Yeah, it's not quite as good. It's still phenomenal." I'm going to stop talking about it and pour some.
Perhaps you could pour us some.
Yes. But while I'm pouring this, talk a little bit about this guy over here.
Yeah, so this, it kind of lines up with, oh, you can't see it because of the pour cam. This is a Russell store pick, which, by the way, they changed the label a little bit for the private picks. There's a standard offering, Russell's Reserve single barrel. Then there are private picks.
I underpoured you, so.
I don't know what you think you're doing. There's 11 bottles of whiskey we have to do. Please slow down. But these Russell store picks, now they have gone up in price. The early in the year, 55-ish. These are now, Dan and I both paid $69 for these, plus the taxes.
There you go,
It's getting up there a bit, especially considering I paid $75 for that. This is a 9-year-old bottle. These have been and always have been remarkably dependable and delicious. Delicious.
I haven't opened. Well, obviously, I haven't opened mine. Have you opened yours yet?
No.
Okay.
But I've generally got one of those open. And I think of all the variants of, there's a standard offering single barrel, and then there's store picks, and we just talked a lot about Blanton's in that way. Those have the biggest variance. The picks for these come from different warehouses, it seems, from the other ones, or there's something different. There is a kind of an uptick. So if I have to pay $10 more for a pick on those, I typically will, because they tend to reward you for that.
Yeah.
But they're just delicious.
What's the proof of this one?
112, 114?
We're at 114.8.
It's red.
Yeah. Yeah, it's quite dark in the bottle. And it's really good. When you drink that, first of all, drink it before I...
Well, it's got so much... It's got a beautiful tobacco in the nose. It's
It's drier than I remember.
Yeah, well, it's been sitting in my garage in the freezing cold. I don't know if that helped.
That's a lot of flavor.
Ooh.
Oh, he just made a weird noise. Get his face on camera for that. Do that noise again.
Make that weird face again. I don't see any
That weird
difference.
face got my wife.
That face was a lot younger then.
Yeah. Wow. Body slam. All right.
There's a glass flying in the air in your immediate future.
I should shut up. You need to fix my guitar.
Yeah, that's right. But again, if you compare this side by side with the first one, it's a different experience. This has a little bit more, sharpness to it than the first one did. Jake, are you okay over there?
I was trying to swash it in my mouth a little more than I should have.
It almost killed Jacob. What more endorsement do you need?
I was really enjoying it, and I then breathed it in.
Yeah.
Don't inhale.
It doesn't do
don't
well
inhale.
in your nasal
fine.
passage.
Don't inhale.
Reacts poorly to lungs.
If Bill Clinton has told you anything, don't inhale.
Kathy's with us on the Knob Creek picks.
I know, and they're good. But if you see this, if you can get this for a reasonable price, do it. But, I mean, Jesus, they're going for so much money now.
Yeah.
I mean,
And a really good one of these,
yeah,
it bumps up pretty close to this. Not that first one.
that was
That first one
something
was
different.
just special.
Yeah, that was something different.
But a really good one of these Russell's picks bumps up awfully close to that.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, for something that you can actually get versus something you're probably not going to get your hands on unless you're really lucky.
Yeah.
I mean, you just...
So what are you going to call that? Blue Label, 13-year...
It's just Russell's 13.
Russell's 13. That's what is the colloquialism that gets used for.
That's great. That's a Yankee word.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get in the mood to come up with a better phrase for you than easy drinking.
Easy drinking. All right, what else we got?
Oh, you know what? This is going to be...
Sorry. Excuse me for enjoying my whiskey.
No, don't do that. It has to go in the dump glass.
I poured it in there.
This is the second one that's not going to go in the dump glass.
You mothers. All right, fine. I'll drink a little bit.
I've had two absolutely delicious. I've had two dump glasses so good. We should really be in the whiskey blending business. They were delicious.
We should create a whiskey called the dump glass.
I'm sure that would sell amazingly. And look, I'm in marketing.
Right.
I can tell you for sure that's a great name. Put dump in the name of anything.
I'll just put my life savings behind
Sure
that
to
one.
sell. You do that.
All right.
Give me all $800.
That's a lot of money. All right. What do we got here?
Oh, is it your turn? Oh, that was you. So
We're bookended by Dickles. Should we talk about Dickles?
let's dickle.
We're bookended by
We're dickle
Dickles.
because we've probably been doing this for quite some time now.
Yeah, we're about a half hour.
Yeah. Okay, so let's dickle.
Let us dickle. Let us dickle.
Is that the next T-shirt? Let us dickle.
Let us dickle.
With your logo?
Yes.
Whatever do you mean? Our logo. Okay.
Children.
So let's try and group this together so it doesn't take all day. So there's 3 Dickel-related products here on the table.
Dickle.
And it was late 2020, somewhere in there. These 15-year-old store picks start. So there isn't a non-private pick version of these 15s. They're all they're store picks or private picks or whatever. They're 15 years old. They range from a lowly 86 or so proof, maybe 84, up to I think I've had one that's 106.
Mm-hmm.
They're all really good. Even at the low proof, they're pretty good. I think they're really good around almost 100, somewhere in there.
Yeah, I agree.
They're $60.
Yeah.
15 years old, $60. Hard to beat. That bottled in bond, anywhere from, I think, 11 to 13 years old. Should be 40, but generally they sell for 50 or 60 around here. Just delicious. And then this, we're going to do last, because this is, I think, some corroboration to my theory that we're just losing flavor and grain. I think that's why we're seeing this huge proliferation of finished whiskeys, second barrel whiskeys. The grain just has less going on than it did before. We'll talk about that when we drink that.
Interesting.
But there are just, I don't know where you can get 11 and 12 and 13-year-old whiskey for $50 is bottled in bond that's that good.
Yeah.
Now, the Dickel profile, incredibly polarizing. Some people like Dickel and some people don't. We happen to love it.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Love it. And this is a 13-year-old. I paid $50 for this, and clearly I've done some damage because it's quite good.
Yep.
And what I like about, which one do you want to go with? Should we do the 15 or the 13?
Let's go in age. So 13 first.
We're gonna need a disembodied hand, please.
And if you don't like the Dickel profile, we can probably still be friends.
Yeah.
But just know there's always some Dickel open at our house.
You'd be like a secondary friend, like a backup friend.
Well, the Dickel fan.
Stop it! Come on, we're grown men.
Are
Sound
we?
like we're bros is what you sound like.
Yeah.
Are we?
I poured you light there for you.
Pour me light. Oh, you've already poured.
Too late.
You live a mile away.
Yeah.
You get more whiskey.
Yeah. You can walk.
I can. I've been told to.
Yeah. All right. So I've been drinking on this one all week, basically. And what I love about the Dickel profile is, everybody sort of notices that funky taste, the Dickel funk, trademark hashtag. The Dickel funk, it's like a weird, it's very unique. But what you don't get on that first sip that you will get on subsequent sips is sort of an apple cider kind of flavor, which I really, really enjoy. And sometimes when I'm like, even with Booker's, I'll get to a point where sometimes whiskeys are too overwhelming for me for the flavors. And I'll sip on some Dickel and you get that apple sort of back, secondary flavor. And it's just so pleasant.
Some people refer to that as a Flintstone vitamin flavor. I don't get it. Or minerally. Which sometimes I do get a little mineralness to it.
I don't get
That is just delicious.
I don't get
whiskey.
Flintstones.
I don't either. I never have gotten. I think maybe once or twice.
Maybe Power Rangers.
Sometimes when I'm opening these different ones, I'll
Yeah.
get a little hint of it. But I think more that's I've been influenced by reading those comments than I
Right.
have actually tasting the whiskey.
Yeah. No, I don't get that at all.
But this is outstanding.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. There's only a handful of $50 bourbons that are that good. And that's not a bourbon, but still, $50 bottles of whiskey that are that good.
I will not hesitate to spend 50 on this anytime, really.
I have.
Yeah.
I have to say I've hesitated because it's everywhere out
Yeah,
here.
it is. But, again, compared to this, which you get 2 more years of age and store pick, could be a different proof.
I had some of this last night. And from memory, I'm going to say I'd rather drink that.
Really?
But we'll find out.
Well, what's the proof on this one?
103 or 4?
Okay.
6? I don't know. That one's from
104.6.
104.6.
I mathed. on
Good
that.
for you.
Thank you.
I'm not even going to check your math.
It's like 80 proof.
It's just water. That's water.
Yeah, I forgot to carry the 7 or something. I don't know. I think this particular bottle of Bottled in Bond has been really wonderful.
He loves having Friday afternoon with us. We love having Friday afternoon with you too, Angus.
So Kathy says she prefers the Bottled in Bond over the 15-year too.
Yeah, and the problem with saying that is every one of those that gets released is a wee bit different, although maybe more consistent because it's not a single barrel.
Right.
Every one of these that gets released is a different proof and different batch, different barrel. So it's a little different.
We didn't ask. Are you Dickel? He's.
I'm intrigued by Dickel. I'm intrigued. I'm Dickel curious.
If you didn't know that was coming, all right.
I didn't. It's hilarious. That was funny.
All right.
You set up the Dickel by comparing the 3 bottles to each other rather than the display, the menagerie of bottles you have.
That's a good
for
point.
a year. And you know what? I mean, I can't compare it to the other Dickels because I don't have the mouthfeel.
Well,
really good.
lucky you.
But
Just wave it past. It's fine.
it's competitive. But I wouldn't put it ahead of the other ones yet.
Okay.
I don't know. Of all we drank, God, that'd be a tough one. Yes, we're drinking favorite whiskeys.
We are.
Yeah.
This guy, though,
You're pulling flowers from flowers.
this guy is perhaps an extreme example of the mouthfeel and the age. I'm going to bet that's older than 15 years.
We should also mention too that one of the reasons we, my one of my whiskeys of the year last year was a barrel, because it was that 15-year, 17-year Dickel.
It had a large component of Dickel.
Yeah. So this is worthy.
Actually, that was the single barrel you liked. Yeah.
So this is worthy just because you could spend $40 less on this and get basically with the same stuff.
And I opened that one. I forget who. Somebody here and I were messaging about those and about the proof and how it's kind of generally agreed the higher proof ones are better. I don't know that I've had some 86 proof ones of those that are really good, but this is a good example because it is kind of on that edge of it's oaky, it's sweet oak,
You don't have to go anywhere.
it's proofy.
No, halfway point.
All right.
Perfect.
They also have the select, the brown label ones.
Oh yeah, those are 9 years old.
Yeah.
I've got one of those I want to open with this because some of those have blown my mind.
Mm-hmm.
The first one of those I bought though was at the distillery, and the distillery people picked it. It was, I'm gonna bet it was older than 9. It was delicious.
I like this one.
This is an interesting nose.
Well, I don't know. I mean, yeah. Whew. That's close. I think I might prefer this one slightly more, but I also paid $15 less for this.
It's worth the $15.
Yeah, I would agree.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. Side by side, I think this one wins.
Yeah.
That's really good.
But only slightly, because I do think this has its own thing going on. That's quite good. But this has a better mouthfeel, a little bit more complexity. But these change, they're different bottle to bottle. So.
I think I have 5 or 6 left, and they're anywhere from 86 to this one's the highest proof one I had.
Yeah, I had an 86 proof of that, and I found it a little bit
Thin.
Yeah, kind of just not as wow, I guess.
Well, I've always talked about the Lincoln County process. Before this whiskey goes in the barrel, it gets filtered through charcoal. 13 feet of charcoal at Dickel. And I think that takes a lot of those esters out, those chemicals out that we like so much. And it takes either some proof or some age to get it back.
That nose is good, though, huh?
I think most of those 15-year-olds, even the upper 80 proof ones, I really do enjoy them.
Yeah. Larry doesn't trust my my math. It was 104.6. Mark it.
Yeah.
It's a new year, folks. Turning over a new leaf. I can do math now.
Dan's been helping his daughter with her homework.
My daughter's been helping me with her homework.
What grade is she in?
Second.
Dan's an educator. Part of being an educator is knowing that if you let people teach you things,
Yeah,
it
that's
helps
right.
them more.
We'll go with that. That sounds
But in any event, he was correct.
yeah, for a change. All right. Now,
That's my favorite moment of the year. Dan mathed correctly.
no, I mathsed.
Maths.
I mathed.
We like
English
maths.
way.
Yes.
We did. We discussed that. We decided we like maths better.
Maths.
Because there's more than one kind.
Yes.
But it's not mathematics.
Maths.
No, but it's mathematics, and this is a shorter version of mathematics.
Right, you just grab
Maths,
the S off the end, eliminate the letters in between.
which we do all the
I
time.
studied English.
In case you didn't know, that dude there, also an educator.
Yeah. Bunch of bums. All
But
right.
not a math person.
Hey, we've
No.
gotten through. So we didn't talk about the Peerless, which I don't think we need to because we've talked quite a lot about
Well, we got to
that.
do this, because I had a special reason for
Oh, well, let's talk about that.
drinking that.
We have a third non-dump.
I wanted to say specific, but it wasn't coming out right. I don't want to pour any of that. Well, I got to take the bottle home. I'll give you some of that.
So I just got that blast of apple juice in that one. That was just so good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Right?
You're right.
Yeah.
I hadn't noticed until you said it.
I'm right twice within like 2 minutes. All right. Let's talk. Leopold.
I just, by the way, remember we don't do just whiskey information. So Dan also has Slogan on the Fast Ride, including a podcast. On that podcast, another notable fixture, another notable personality, Ben Delaney, in cycling
Yes.
told you were right
know.
about something.
So I've been right 3 times in just the last week.
And that's a recorded incident. I edited said podcast and made sure that every time he said that, it was still in the podcast.
Good.
Including it's the last thing said in the podcast.
I do want like a little soundbite of something that just says Dan's right. Dan's
Okay.
right. Dan, like we could just kind of apply that when we need to.
Because you'll use that way more than it actually happened.
Have I mentioned I'm a super taster?
Diva. He's a super diva.
All right, let's talk Leopold Brothers.
So this is important to me because I really believe that the grains that are being used to make whiskey
Catch.
have less flavor in them than they did a couple of decades ago.
I want to talk about that some more.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, because we're drinking whiskeys that are, this is a 5-year-old whiskey. That Booker's is not that old. Most of this whiskey's not that old. And because that grain has been homogenized and there's less flavor in the grain inherently in the grain, we're depending more on the barrel, which has always provided 70 or more % of the flavor. But now we're starting to see more finishes. Is that because we think the market's into finishes? Is that because distilleries want to distinguish themselves? Or is it because most 5 or 6 year old whiskeys don't have a lot of flavor in them because the grain had not a lot of flavor in the first place? In this case, Todd Leopold went back in history. I'm going to talk history.
I can keep my hand raised.
Histories?
You like
Histories.
history, right?
I
Raise
do.
the other hand because that one's in the light and you
Yeah.
can't tell you. There you go. That's a full
You,
geeky.
the ugly boy in the back.
Front row student.
Go ahead. Before, you've already interrupted. Go ahead.
What do you use the bathroom?
You pee in your pants like the rest of us do.
It's third grade all over again. So, do they have a special grain reserve? I mean, you have barrel reserves. Do you have land? You pay attention to altitude. Do you have specific? And Chile has specific farms.
Chile?
Chile. You have specific.
Who
farms for
invited
Chile.
you? I
Green
don't
chilies,
know.
red chilies, Hash, New Mexico.
Oh, Chile's like I thought you
Yeah,
meant like Chile, the country.
The country.
So do you have? Don't know anything about that.
Terroir is
South
what you're
America.
thinking.
Yeah.
Well, and actual grain. So you talk about the homogenization of grain.
Mm-hmm.
Are they mixing grains with other agricultural institutions and therefore creating a single monoculture of grain that's used for many different grain products?
Watch
or
the
is there
comments for the what the fuck is going on here.
is there a grain for a particular whiskey within these companies that they hold on to? Because with as much
You guys keep talking. I'm going to pour.
with as much attention as they give to history and the ancestral sort of rights of the quality of their beverage, you'd think the grain would be incredibly important. Do they allow it to get mixed up, or do they keep that grain?
So very few, as far as I know, very few of the distilleries grow their own grain. Very few. So they're having to buy grain.
Okay.
And in this country, not that Monsanto has anything to do with it, but corn has
That's my
gotten to be, yellow dent corn has kind of gotten to be yellow dent corn.
Okay.
I think it's just different. And certainly, and it's one of the reasons I brought this bottle, certainly that's true with rye. So a rye grain, typical rye grain today used in distillation has about 30% more starch in it than a rye grain used 40 years ago.
Okay.
Starch has no flavor.
Mm-hmm.
And so something has to change. And Todd Leopold believes that. He's a historian of his craft. And he went back in history and found that a couple things had changed. One was there was this long-lost 3-chamber still that nobody used anymore. And he thought, well, there must have been something to that because they had column stills then. They had pot stills then. Why was this third still important? And it was because it extracted more oil from the grain. Also, the grain was different. And so he searched and found some heirloom grains. And he made what was the Leopold Brothers 3-chamber rye, which is a very polarizing rye. It's different. What?
No, I'm listening. I am 100%.
Well,
on board.
and Kathy has a question, and I think she has a good question because I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah,
Could
sure.
it be because this is actually a thing with
Monoculture she's talking about.
Yeah, I mean this is with cigars too, right? Like,
Sure.
Could it be that the soil and the grains are grown, the soil that the grains are grown in are not cycled every few years?
Yes.
Yeah.
When the nutrients in the soil and that grains had a few years ago is no longer there.
Yeah,
That
I
was
think
my
I think
next
that's the
question,
whole the whole struggle with monoculture in general. But absolutely, whatever the reason, the grains are just different. And the reason I brought this was Todd Leopold invested a ton of money to go back and not only find an heirloom grain that had a starch content way closer to what it would have been decades
wow.
ago, and way closer in oils. He built a still that would pull more of those oils out. And then this is a nice collaboration. So this is an expensive bottle. This is a $100 to $120 bottle of whiskey. It's expensive, but damn, is it good?
And it is.
And it's different.
It's very
Truly different. Not different because we stuck it in a wine barrel. Not different because we stuck it in another toasted French oak barrel.
No, it's different and it tastes good.
It's different and it tastes good.
Yeah. The first one was a good bottle, just as bottles go. The second one was significantly better, worth a $15 upgrade.
Yeah.
Well, remember
This is a different experience.
But remember, the Dickel part of this is nothing like the Dickel in this.
No.
So the story goes, Todd Leopold
That nose is good, isn't it?
wanted to, I don't know what he wanted to do, but I think he realized how polarizing the 3-chamber rye was by itself. He wanted to find a rye to blend it with. He reached out to Nicole Austin at Dickel, who turns out had been distilling her own rye there in Tullahoma, Tennessee, because the green label Dickel rye you see is MGP rye. It gets sent to Tullahoma, it gets Lincoln County processed, whatever, but it's still MGP rye. The rye in this from Dickel that was distilled in Tullahoma. So something different, but not the Tennessee whiskey flavor that you.
This tastes a lot better to me than it did when we first opened it.
I have loved this bottle from the moment I opened it. My friend in where I'm from, Mobile, Alabama, Stephen, has had the straight up 3-chamber and promises me I love it.
That's like the $300 bottle, though. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's others. There's now a single barrel version that's around 200. It varies a lot, but I think I'm going to invest in that because I just really love this, and I trust a guy like Stephen. He drinks enough whiskey like we do. I think I want to give it a shot.
You're saying the third chamber removes oil?
It pulls more oil from the grain.
And
that's
because
where
it tastes oilier.
Mouthfeel comes from.
Yes. There's a lot more body.
And you got to figure. I mean, let's hand me that bottle. You got to figure that there's a lot more of the Dickel in here than there is the 3-chamber rye. because A, of the price. I mean, only 100 versus 300.
Yeah.
And the bottles are exactly the same.
And what's the proof?
I don't even remember. 100.
All right. So before we dive any deeper in that, because
I'm really impressed by that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's great.
Don't apologize
shut
for
up.
agreeing with me.
No, I'm just
Shut your face.
interrupting.
Shut your beautiful,
I was
charismatic
interrupting,
face.
That's why.
I can't turn him off.
I know. Cut his mic. Before we dive into the last bottle,
Yes.
I want to ask you guys what your favorite bottles were. And also, if you've already dived into some of the samples that we sent, I'd love to know which ones you guys liked, which ones you didn't like, which ones you were expecting to like and you didn't, or vice versa, the ones that you were not expecting to like and just think are fantastic.
And for those of you that chose the Deer Hammer Progeny,
Yeah.
I really like that bottle, but I swear everybody I've shared it with is like, what the hell are you thinking?
Well, it's a lot like this. You got to be ready for that experience. I really do think.
I liked it immediately when I sipped it. I still like it. I think it's different and delicious. I keep forgetting, now that I'm saying this, I don't want to look over there because I keep forgetting to bring the guy that makes mead some of the whiskey that's aged in mead barrels.
I just opened a bottle of mead that I had in my fridge for 2 years. It has aged so nicely.
Where is it?
You should start a live stream on Fridays.
Just like mead.
I can come
Mead
here
Fridays?
after this. I can come there
Yeah.
Mead
and
Mondays.
I can produce that from you.
The meat, the Friday meadery.
But what are your favorite bottles?
Yeah, I want to hear. And I mean, you guys have drank with us almost all year. I think a lot of you, and so you know what we like. We don't know what you like, and we sent you a bunch of stuff. So tell us what you guys were impressed with.
Eric loved the Deer Hammer.
Oh, well, good. See, that's somebody.
Speaking of all year, we have done this for a year, just
about that?
over a year actually.
Yeah.
These Friday streams. I think we've only missed a couple. Well, you've missed a few.
I have. I've traveled.
I've only missed 1 or 2.
I was in New York City. Did I mention?
You did.
I've missed 50.
Real super fan over there. All right, we got 1 bottle left.
We do. And this bottle,
Thank you, disembodied hand.
prior to securing the first Russell's Reserve 13, this was my favorite bottle of whiskey, bar category,
Ooh.
nothing else. Favorite.
Wow.
After I got the Russell's 13, I questioned it. After I got the Four Roses 2021 Small Batch Limited Edition, which Jacob promptly guzzled while he was eating pizza at my house.
Which Which is the only way you're supposed to, by the way.
Sure.
It says on the bottle.
I really was questioning it. I had one more of these. I didn't want to open it for some reason. It had been the one bottle that reached that pedestal where I was scared to open it. So I bought another one for $325. The Kentucky Owl Batch 1 Rye.
With a little help from your friends. Yeah.
You ought to do something.
Pizza store.
And we opened it, and holy crap, it's still maybe the best whiskey I've ever tasted. And, you know, you can talk about rumors, but that's rumored to be some really old Barton-produced rye.
I just also want
It's
to
quite
mention...
good. Pour heavy on those. None of that's going... If you eat
Whoa,
some...
Jesus.
I didn't mean that. I didn't fill the glass up.
Sorry, a little too heavy there.
If you need some of that in the dump glass, just pour some in the dump glass, because none of that's going in the dump glass.
No, I think I'm...
Anyway, some of you guys
here.
got some of that Kentucky Owl Batch 1 Rye. I would love to know if you've had it and if you like it.
Here, disembodied hand.
I think it's quite good.
I also want to mention that, like, just as a power move, I went over to Mark's house a few weeks ago. Just real casual, like, he poured me just a glass of this. I just said, hey, you want some Kentucky Owl? I said, oh, yeah, that's fine. You know, I was playing it off, too. Oh, it's fine. It's fine. I would have a little bit, maybe a splash. But that's like a total power move to bust out your Kentucky Owl.
It's all I got. I don't have any pappies.
And this has been fantastic every time, but good luck getting it. But I did see a batch 3 on the shelf not too long ago. It was $199, I want to say.
I doubt
Oh,
it.
wow.
I doubt it. That's always been over 300.
No, it was
Wow.
well, maybe it was $299. Talk a little bit about the difference between these and the other batches, because it feels like people dogged on. Have your moment. It feels. I'll talk to you guys. It feels like people kind of dogged on the batches after batch 1, and batch 1 is phenomenal. I haven't had 2 or 3.
God damn, that's good. I had a 2. My wife, Eagle Eye, we're in a store, Atlas Valley in Louisville, and we're walking through the store, and she goes, "Hey, isn't that whiskey you really like?" And it's on the bottom shelf, and it should have been $170, and it was there for $120. And so I acted like I wasn't going to buy. I went, "Yeah, I don't know if I really want to buy that." She goes, "Stop it." So I bought it.
And I'm the prima donna.
And that's why you love your wife.
One of many, many reasons.
Yeah.
But it was good. Batch 2 was shockingly delicious. It just wasn't at this level. And I don't know, when they age state something, it's got to be the age of the lowest, the youngest whiskey.
Yeah.
There's clearly older whiskey in here.
Yeah. What is this age stated at?
11
Oh, okay.
and 110.6 proof. It is just
110.
the most delicious, easy sipping, incredible mouthfeel. The finish, if you stop drinking this now tonight when you go to brush your teeth, you're going to not want to do it because you're going to still mess up the finish. It's so good. And I like rye whiskey, but holy crap, it's good.
Eric's going to open the Dragon's Milk Origin.
And Eric, that was something I meant to talk about. That was a surprise for us this year.
That should be on here.
It really should. And I still have a little bit of it, but I don't have the bottle, so it seems silly to bring it. But that one was a surprise. It's not like it's a mind-changing whiskey, but
It's notable.
it is notable from a long-time beer producer that does something that good. Mm-hmm. This thing is just holy crap. And now I still have another one of these. Now, I never had the batch 3.
Phenomenal.
How do you get the rye to have that bourbon kind of mouthfeel?
Well, remember, this is a Kentucky style rye. And so it's probably 51 or 2 or 3% rye, a large component of corn, and then a little bit of malted barley. So the proportions aren't that different. This is not like a Whistle Pig that's 100% rye or a MGP rye that's 95% rye. So it's very similar to a bourbon, but you get that spice. You're standing in the forest. You get the spruce trees, and it's just unbelievably good.
All right. So
There's a different flavor with every sip.
yeah, I mean, the Russell's 13 or Kentucky Owl, it's apples to oranges a little bit.
All day.
I agree.
Yeah.
And now that's independent of price.
Agree.
If I buy this at retail at $120, absolutely no question.
Yeah.
If I've got to pay more than $150 for that and $300 for this, I'd pay double for this than I would that.
Yeah.
Ooh.
It is really that good.
It is better.
Yeah.
It is.
It's just-
I mean, there
it's
isn't
just
a
shocking.
bad.
And to me,
bottle in the
it
bunch.
kind of exemplifies what I was talking about I believe there to be much older rye in here. That grain was a little bit different.
Yeah.
20 years ago
And
than it was now.
I would like to make one final note for our last live stream of the year, which is that despite the high price and the practical nature of our practical still live stream, Mark opened this and shared it. And that is exactly why we're here. And that is exactly what we think you should do. Share it with yourself. And I'll drink to that. I mean, Mark, you've been very generous.
No, you don't.
It's my day for the dunk glass. Yes. You've been very generous this year. Cheers to that.
Cheers.
Jacob,
Cheers,
thanks for
Jacob.
joining us today.
Yes,
Thanks for
thank
being
you.
here.
Yeah. And
Thank
by the
you
way,
all
Thank you all.
for being here with us. We so greatly appreciate it. If you have an opinion, because we're a little conflicted on whether we keep doing this. Actually, mostly I'm conflicted on whether we keep doing this or not. Is this the right time?
Should we do it later?
Should we do it later? Should it be a different day? It should be Friday. Should we keep doing it all? But we thank
do
you
you
so
think?
much for being here. We thank our co-producer, Larry Gray.
Larry Gray.
And normally you don't say people's entire names on the internet. So
Isn't his name Larry Gray? Larry's name's Larry
it's
Gray.
there, but you wouldn't say that he lives in Florence, Alabama.
No.
But thank you, Larry,
the
for all
following
the,
address.
the co-producing efforts you've put in during the year.
Yes.
Reminders and such.
Yes.
It's been fun.
Yes. And Eric, thanks for bringing Kathy.
Yes, thanks for those of you that brought new people. Like
Yeah.
Eric brought Kathy. And Dude Hawk, who hasn't shown up
Dude
lately.
Hawk.
And he only put one whiskey on the list. We'll probably just send him whatever the hell.
And BC beer reviews. Thank you
Yeah,
for coming.
thanks for being here. And the handful of times we had porn bots.
Yeah. Thank you for being
super
porn.
grateful for that.
Yeah. Thankful.
Not really our thing while we're drinking whiskey,
thankful
but we
for porn.
appreciate you being here.
Throw me up in the camera for a second. Dan and Mark are sincerely generous people who are not simply putting
Go on.
a webcast, but have
What are you, 80?
Yes, I am. Give me a crib sheet of the proper terms if you want me to use them.
We enjoy your Nickelodeon, sir. Thank you, Jacob.
Your flip image.
Thank you.
He's not done. Should I cut him off?
You know, I'm done now.
Keep drinking. All right.